Hello, 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 beautiful, blessed ones. It's your Triple G here, Donna Sallee, certified life and dream builder coach, public motivational speaker, workshop and book club facilitator, very soon to be best-selling author, and the founder of Life Destiny Solutions, where the life you're living connects with the destiny your soul desires to express. I am so very excited and thrilled to have you here on the ninth episode of Women, Wisdom, and Wine, which is a live segment where women gather virtually every week to talk about their experience with life, healing, growth, and transformation. Because I believe that if you are alive, you have wisdom to share that can help someone else. I want to thank all of my returning guests. If you have been on here before, thank you for returning. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate you. If you are new to the segment, please stick around to the very end and I will tell you how you can find out more about me, about Life Destiny Solutions, and also about some exciting things coming up. So stick around, okay? Now, you all know, you returning guests, you know, I like to know before we get started what you're sipping on tonight. So go ahead, type in the chat what you're sipping on tonight. After all, it is Women, Wisdom, and Wine. And tonight, I am sipping on a South African Syrah. It is so delicious. It really is good. So go ahead and I hope you have your drink. I hope you maybe even have a pen and paper because this guest is going to give us some food to give us some sustenance. I already know it. So let's get started. Okay. So y'all saw that mess up, right? I was supposed to do the countdown first, but I thank y'all for sticking around and being patient with me. Hey, Miss Tracy, so glad to have you here. I see you're drinking water tonight. That's probably what I need to be drinking. Daryl's drinking water. Y'all are being a little too good for me. I don't know what's going on. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me tell you a little bit about my, I call her my cousin. We call each other cousin because we have the same last name. So we figure we're related somewhere down the line. Miss Ericka Sallee is a transformation success coach and owner of True Synergy LLC. As a result of her personal and professional development coaching programs, she has helped her clients figure out the barriers that get in the way of being their best and provide strategies for success. This is the beginning of transformation and puts us on the path for meaningful living. I love that. She is an author. She's an author of Pathway to Purpose, Find It, Follow It, Fulfill It. I've read it. Miss Ericka believes self-care is an essential part of daily living, and that is exactly what we're about to talk about. Let's virtually welcome my cousin and friend, Miss Ericka Sallee.
Hey, cousin, how you doing?
I am great, cousin.
Oh gosh, it's
Thank
so
you
funny.
so much for coming on the show. I truly am excited to have you here. I think you are the first coach that I've had on here.
Okay.
And so I'm not against having other coaches
That's right.
because
That's
we
why I
all
collect
have.
minds.
That's right. We
Yes,
need some
yes.
like minds, and we all have our target audiences. And so I love that you were willing to come on the show and talk about, we talk about self-care as the,
Mm-hmm.
that's the word of the, like companies talk about work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Do they really mean it? I don't know. But self-care is the word of the
Yes, that's the word of the times that we're
of the
living in.
time.
Yes, yes. And let me just tell you, so I'm drinking Jacob's Creek. It is a Shiraz Cabernet. So for the viewers who are drinking water, just want to let you know I got that too. So
Me too. Me too. I got that
yes,
too.
yes. Let me give you kudos though, Donna. Your show is amazing. You're doing amazing things. And so I just appreciate being here in this space with you and just sharing as sisters or cousins or however we're connected down the line. So thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So let's get started. I want to talk about self care, like really.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
really is self care?
Yeah. So I like the way you put that. Like, what is it really? Because I think we say it a lot and we're just kind of like throwing it out there without really understanding number one, what it means, number two, how simple it is or can be, and number three, how absolutely positively necessary it
It
is.
is.
And the bottom line is self care is our ability to take care of self, just like the word says. And you know how you say, I don't like to define a word with the word, but that's really what it is. It's taking care of us.
Mhm.
And I think that in the times that we're living in right now, especially coming out of 2020, and even though we're in a brand new year, some of the remnants of 2020 are still with us, and I believe they will be with us for a while.
Yes.
So it is crucial now that if you never thought about self care, if you never embraced it, this is the time to do just that.
Yes. Yes. And it's so interesting because you mentioned, with 2020. So let me just ask this.
Mhm,
When you think about self care and the way that 2020 kind of took us for a loop,
mhm, mhm,
and we had a lot of us, not all of us, a lot of us had more time on our hands.
mhm,
How do you think that that affected people? Do you think overall, this is
mhm,
a generalization, do you
mhm.
think that self care became more prevalent, or do you think that people were kind of just stuck not knowing what to do?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think that for people who perhaps never really took the time out for self care, it was like a shock like, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I manage this crisis that I'm in? And of course, 2020 was not just about the pandemic, but it was about all the social issues that were happening in our communities. And so that coupled with the pandemic kind of forced people into this, fight or flight. I don't know if I said that right, fight or flight.
Yes. Mhm.
Um, but really not knowing how to fight, just kind of being in this space of, oh my gosh, what do I do? And my stress level has gone up to the nth degree. So I think that's one hand of the or one side of the coin. The other side is for people who very much have self-care as a regular routine, perhaps they
Mhm.
just tapped into it a little bit more. So I think there's a
Mhm.
different dynamic depending on what people were doing before the pandemic hit.
That is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I know I a lot of people use this time to get in better shape. You have both extremes. You have the people who lost weight, they got in shape, they had more time to exercise, they really just kind of leaned in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a lot of us that did not have those kinds of self-care regimens
Mm-hmm.
before, it was hard. And I know for me, I mean, I'm very blessed, but I didn't have the slowdown at work and I didn't have the slowdown. So, I'm not, I couldn't relate. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't relate to having all this time on my hands because I
Gotcha.
didn't.
Okay. Okay. Because it never stopped for you. Is that what
It
you're
never
saying?
stopped for me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in my industry. And so I found myself actually feeling a little jealous.
No, that's real talk. Yeah.
Feeling a little jealous because I wanted to have that time. I work from home anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people that when you work from home, if
Mm-hmm.
you are the type of person that has a work ethic, a strong work ethic, you
Uh-huh.
work more from home than you do in an office.
Yes, yes. And let me tell you, so I had a lot of conversations with clients who would say just that, like, because they were working from home, it was, if they had the ability to do that, that was great. But then it was like they didn't know how to shut it off, right? They didn't know how to
Mhm.
separate, okay, here's my work day. And then I just roll right into, either extended work or doing the family thing, or the other side is extended work along with the family thing. So there was never a break. And I
Yeah.
think hearing that was even more of an aha for me, because I thought, oh, this is even more reason why self-care, like, okay, let's talk about what this looks like. Let's bubble it up so that people understand you absolutely have to be able to take that break.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for people, but I think having this conversation hopefully will help those who are watching live, who will see the replay and then share it out, will get what they need from it so that they can make that a part of who they are.
Yes, because that's so important. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I struggle with that. I
Mm-hmm.
do. I
Mm-hmm.
struggle with, like, I'll have moments of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
I might say, you know what? I'm gonna pour me a glass of wine, turn on some jazz, light a candle, and take me a bath.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have that 30 minutes, 45
Mm-hmm.
minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but regular self-care. I
Yeah.
mean, really just I do meditate. I do some things that are helpful,
Mm-hmm.
but really just kind of leaning into self-care is
Yeah.
something that I kind of struggle with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think, so I think that's a great segue into just this notion of, okay, so what is it that stops us, right? As you did the intro and reading the bio, one of the thing that's most important is, okay, so what's the barrier, right, that stops us? And so I thought about it, and it really boils down for me to these three myths, right, that we create around what it means to take care of self. And
Okay.
I think, one of the myths is I don't have time, right? How many of us have, right? How many of us have said,
Raise my hand right off.
raise my hands and my feet if I could,
My
but I don't
feet.
want to lift my legs up because I might fall back in this chair. But
Yes.
but we don't have time. And so, when you think about the notion of time, I think, and Tracy's saying amen, and I just
Mhm.
want to read what she says. She's got a husband, a full-time job. She serves on a board. So all of these
Of the
things,
state
right?
nonprofit. Yeah, caretaker for
All
our mom.
exactly all of these hats. So here's how I think about that. So the myth is we don't have time. The truth is we have more than enough time to do exactly what we need to do. And I think sometimes we get wrapped up into the fact that self care has to be this extended period of time, like in one fell swoop.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the time factor, self care can be as little as 30 seconds, and then you can expand that, right? So, what I mean by that is even if you take time through the day to just stop and breathe, like that is caring for yourself. Just stop
Yes.
and breathe. Because sometimes we're holding our breath right here and we don't even realize that we're not releasing it in
Mhm.
a healthy way.
Mhm.
So we do have time for self care. We do have time for the bath, the candle, the glass of wine, as you
Yes.
said. We do have time to just stop and reflect on something, whether it's a picture, whether it's taking a step outside your front door, especially if we're home now, like getting up from your space, going to look outside, look, at the trees or the sky. Like those are moments of self-care that I think we don't even realize as being helpful and significant to our well-being, right? So it
Yes.
could be as simple as that, and it could be as extensive as, oh wait, let me go have a spa day. So let me say this really quickly when we talk about time. So just think about this. 24 hours in a day, right? 24 hours in a day. If you took increments of 30 seconds, increments of 5 minutes, just think about the concept of time differently so that you no longer get tricked by the myth. No, I don't have time. We all have time. But we
Yes.
have to re-trigger our brains to think differently about what time means and how we can utilize it to our benefit.
Yes. Now, you know what? I love that. So now I realize that I do a little bit better than I gave myself
Mm.
credit for. Because I
See?
do that. I find myself. So for me, I know I hold tension in my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I know I'm not breathing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not, you know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not allowing myself to be mindful. I give myself a mindful minute,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
just take a minute to notice what's going on. If I have my little water fountain on, hear the water.
Yeah.
Um, can I hear the crackle of my candle burning? Can I hear, what is going, is my dog down here snoring like he's doing now?
Yeah.
What's just really going on?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just take a mindful minute,
Yes. Yes.
and that helps to recenter you
Absolutely. And I
and
love what you
reset.
said about, oh wait, I do more than I think. So giving yourself credit. Because those are all little ways that we can take care of ourselves in just a quick second, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so the first myth is that we don't have enough time,
Yep.
but the truth is we have more than enough time to do everything we need to do.
Absolutely. Yes, that is the first. So that's the first one. So
Okay.
the second myth is that we can just keep going and going and going and going. I don't have to stop. I got I just got to keep going. You know that commercial with the Energizer Bunny, right?
Yes.
It's cute and all that. But
Hmm.
baby, let me tell you, that battery will wear down eventually. So I was talking to a friend, and he said to me, I always have to be doing something, and I thought, oh, okay. There's always something to do. Let's not get it twisted. Yes, there's always something to do. But when we buy into the fact that we can just keep moving and we can keep shaking and we can keep getting it done and, repetitive cycle over and over and over, then we wear ourselves down. And at the end of the day, if we realize I cannot serve from an empty cup, whether that's you and I as coaches, whether it's someone as a teacher, someone else as a stay at home mom or dad, like we
Hmm.
cannot serve from an empty cup. So the
Yes.
notion of keep going and going and going and going, that will get us to a place where we are forced, bam, into a brick wall eventually.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the truth is that we absolutely cannot keep going. We have to give ourselves time for rest. We have to give ourselves time for quiet and stillness. And I know some people, if they sit for 3 minutes, they're like, Lord, what I got to do now? I know it's not easy, but it's a mindset shift. It absolutely is a mindset
And
shift.
it's so imperative. So that makes me think about, and I'm gonna put him on the spot. He'll get me
Uh-huh.
later. But um, with my husband, he as soon as he comes in the house, TV on.
Uh-huh.
As soon as he comes in the bedroom, TV on. If he's sleeping, I turn the TV off and he moves. He's like, "Why'd you turn the TV off?" And he turns it back. Like it's. I have earplug. I have soft earplugs because I'm a side sleeper. I have the eye shade. Like I need some dark and quiet. I
Mm-hmm.
need to reset.
Yeah.
And so I notice there is a difference in the way we handle certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing
Right.
or a
It's
good thing.
different.
It's just a different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so there was a time that I was there. There
Mm.
was a time music was my thing. I
Mhm.
could not be in a room without music
Mhm.
playing. And I
Mhm.
still love music.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
love it.
Mhm.
But there are days that I will work. There are times I work a whole week. I'll work all day from home. Not a TV was on,
Mhm.
no music was on, none
Mhm.
of that.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
so I think there's something to be said for training yourself
Mhm.
to be okay with the quiet.
Yes, and stillness. Like it's almost like, you know, through our experiences, we've just been conditioned. And especially as, and this isn't to take, you know, I don't want it to sound sexist, but as women, and I think your one viewer, Tracy, I think is her name, said, you
Mm-hmm.
know, she's wearing all these hats. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, there's always something to fill, some activity to be done in that role. And so we get used to going and going and going. But if you think about it, it's like when you fill up your tank in your car, right? You know that eventually you're going to have to refill that tank,
That's
because
right.
if you don't and you get down to less than a quarter tank, you might run out of gas
That's right.
and you can't do anything.
Then
So
you can't go anywhere and
you
you're
can't.
gonna have to spend thousands of dollars to fix your car.
Right. So it's the same thing with our bodies, right? You can't do much, and then you're going to have to pay the cost, whatever that looks like, mental, physical,
Right.
or spiritual, you know,
Yes.
dis-ease, if you will. So
Yes.
the myth that we can just keep going without stopping, if anybody is listening and that's the mantra, like just think for a minute, oh no, wait, I got to stop. Because if I don't stop, then I'll be forced to stop in a way that I don't choose. But
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm.
Tracy says she also started a business, so it's a struggle to stay in balance.
So
I-
Tracy, kudos to you on starting the business. But so Donna, here's another thing, and I want to share this, and hopefully this will help. Someone had to train me to think about this, is that there isn't balance. Balance doesn't exist. And the reason it doesn't exist is because it assumes that all things are equal, right? Your job, starting a business, and your family. Well, we already know you might spend more time on your job. You might have to invest just an hour or two in your business. You might have to. So if we think about the fact that balance doesn't exist, but we can find harmony in those places where we have to serve, then I think it kind of takes the pressure off, because we don't continue to try to find something that doesn't exist. So I just wanted to say that when I saw Tracy say balance.
no, I love that
Mhm.
because harmony, not balance.
Yes.
Because even in relationships, she says she loves her
I
downtime
know
days.
that's right.
Absolutely.
And you
And
deserve it.
you deserve it.
Mhm.
And you know what? So when you're talking about harmony and not balance,
Mhm.
I know that that's another thing that we talk about, finding balance, and I've been guilty of it
Of
too. And
course,
I
me
heard
too.
someone say that,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know, a year or so ago, about there is no such thing as balance, because if you think about it, in a relationship,
Mhm.
relationships, I don't care what kind of relationship it is,
Mhm.
relationships are very rarely 50-50.
Mhm.
They're
Absolutely.
never.
Yep.
Always one person is giving a little more or taking a little more
Mhm.
there, because they're in a time of need. So there, you really, if you look at it as a scale, it's very rare
Yeah. Yeah.
that you're going to have any relationship that is like this
Mhm.
for any period of time.
Absolutely. And we get frustrated because we're trying to find it. And when it's not that way, that's when we are mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally unhealthy, right? So then our self-care meter starts to dwindle down, because we're constantly trying to find something that doesn't exist, as opposed to figuring out where that calibration is,
Yes.
and finding the harmony in that space. So you're right, it's very rare that it's 50-50 in any given moment.
Yes. So it's
Yeah,
that way with our lives. I mean,
absolutely.
and we kind of talked about this right before, the show, is that I think when we realize that, so my new thing is recently, it's okay. I
Ah,
just have to tell myself, it's okay. It's so simple. but that's my new kind of mantra. Like when things are not the way I plan, or
Mm-hmm.
things are not going, to my liking,
Yeah.
I have to stop and say, it's okay.
And you know what, Donna? That is a form of self care. Like that is a form of self care because you're taking the pressure off yourself. We talked about it,
Yes.
like you said before the show. It's like this need for things to be perfect. Everything has to be, and it's like, you know what? It's okay because saying that to yourself kind of takes that anxiety and that stress, from
Mhm.
building up from you focusing on the thing that didn't go the way that you planned. So I love that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, it's
It's
okay.
okay.
Because we're only in so much control anyway.
Absolutely.
So it's
Yep.
okay.
That's a show all by itself.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay. So we had myth number one
Mhm.
was that we don't have enough time in the day.
Mhm.
We busted that by saying we have all the time we need to do everything we need to do. I know I'm paraphrasing, probably not
No,
saying
go right.
exactly.
Yeah. No. Yep.
So myth number two is that we can go on and on and on and on and on, but we're busting that myth because the truth is that we cannot go on and on. We have to take a break.
Yes. 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 And so the third myth, and this is one that I've said it over and over and over, but the third is it's selfish for me to take time for myself. And let me just tell you, what I say
Yes.
is it's not selfish. It's selfish if you don't do it.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yes.
Okay. So, okay, there you go. I was like, you froze a little bit, but hey, we're still rocking and rolling. So yeah, sometimes we tell ourselves it's selfish because I've got to be wife or husband. I've got to take care of my children. I've got to, fulfill the roles for the boss. And here's when I think about that. One of the things that comes to mind is that as you and I were growing up, and you tell me if this has been your experience, Donna,
Okay.
but we were always taught, let's say, when we become parents, say that 10 times fast, um, we invest in taking care of our children, right? As to be a good parent, you got to take care of your children. When we get married, it's like you got to, make sure you take care of your spouse. When you get a job, you got to make sure that you fulfill the role of your job. I don't know where Donna just went, so I think we're still here. I don't know if we're still live, but I'm just going to pause for a minute just to make sure we get all the show stuff together. So, okay, I think
Not sure what's going on.
it's all good. It's all good. We're still
Yeah,
here.
college doing a live show.
Hey,
Hey.
listen, we didn't we
So
just talk about not being perfect?
exactly. But
And
I'm wondering what everyone else sees. Is there anyone in the show that what are you all seeing? Because I know sometimes with StreamYard, what you see in the show is not
okay,
so I'm not seeing you now, Ericka.
and I
Um
I do see you, so I'm not sure. I
your
see you, but
screen
you're
is
frozen.
blank.
Okay,
Do
so
you
I'm
want to try going out and coming back in?
sure if that's a way to troubleshoot, that'll work. You want me to do that? Let's try it. Let's see what we.
Okay, y'all. Are y'all still here? Okay, Tracy, I see you. I'm not sure what's going on. Give me a moment. I'm going to reset my signal real quick on my hotspot. I'm not sure what the issue is. Okay. So give me a moment. I'm not going to end it, but I'm going to go out and come back in. All right. Hopefully y'all can hear me. All right, Miss Erica. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, I don't know why I am not seeing you. So I'm not sure what's going on with my signal.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me try one more thing. Just stay
Okay.
there.
Yep,
One more thing.
sure.
Y'all, thank you so much. See this,
Absolutely.
guess what? It's okay.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that I mean, this is a perfect example. So I'm flowing with you. You just tell me whatever you need.
Okay. Oh, I can see you now. Yay. I
Yay!
had to switch Wi-Fi's. Y'all, thank you so much, everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, listen, that's real time. That was a perfect time to give use your example of it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
okay. I was like, no sense in stressing out.
That's right.
And my lovely guests, our lovely guests are still there. Quite a few of them are still
Good.
there. So thank you all for hanging in there. This is what live internet
Yeah,
is
this is
about.
it. Live streaming and technology is great when it works, and when it doesn't, you just go with the flow.
That's
Oh
right. That's
gosh.
right.
Yes.
So we were talking before my internet decided to do what it wanted to do. We were talking about, we were kind of recapping and
Yeah.
talking about the going on and on. And I think you were getting ready to get to, or you had just started getting to myth 3, and then things
Yes.
were
Yeah.
haywire. So this must be a good one.
This must be a good one. This is the money shot right here. So,
Right,
so
right.
myth number 3 is that it is selfish. Like, and if I'm doing something for me, oh my gosh, I should feel bad about it because I should be serving other people. I'm the wife, I'm the husband, I'm the mother, I'm the daughter, I'm the co-worker, I'm the
Mhm,
employer, I'm the,
mhm,
all of these things. I'm gonna go back to
mhm,
Tracy again with all the hats. So
mhm,
if we
mhm.
step away from those roles that we are supposed to fulfill, then we feel guilty sometimes. And we say, well, no, I shouldn't do this for me because I gotta. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna say this again, and you might hear me say it 10 more times before we're done. Self care is not selfish, it is absolutely, positively necessary. It's
Yes.
selfish if you don't do it.
Yes.
That's the truth. If you do not take care of you, then you're not going to be any good to the people who need you, whether it's your family or whether it's the community that you serve through the gifts that you're using.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think part of what I was alluding to before the technology gremlins jumped in and tried to slow down our flow was that if you recall, and Donna, maybe you can relate to this, but growing up, we were taught to be nurturers, right? Take care of your family.
Yes.
Make sure as a parent you take good care of your kids. And so that's our thing.
Yes.
And so it doesn't mean that if I practice self-care that I'm any less of a good mother, a good wife, a good worker, or it doesn't mean any of that. It just means I'm pouring into me first so that I can be what I need to be for the other people. So that's the truth right there.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
So, how do you, especially as women, because, and that's when it kind of went out, because you were getting ready to give that example and you were saying, tell me if this was the way for you, Donna, when you were growing up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, so, I was one of the, well, I shouldn't say it that way. I was one of the few in my peer group that I know, could be wrong, but that I can remember that their mother worked,
Mm-hmm.
came home, cooked a meal. Now it might have been grilled cheese and tomato soup, but she cooked
Yeah.
a meal.
And that's a good meal.
Oh, right, that's a good meal.
I know.
That's a good comfort meal.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And she was involved in things, activities in church.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Jack and Jill.
Mm-hmm.
We were, she had other clubs and women's clubs and things that she hosted. And Sunday morning, 5 a.m. She was up at 5 a.m. every morning, went to
Mm-hmm.
bed at 11 to the 11 o'clock news,
Yeah.
got up at 5 with no alarm clock.
Mm-hmm.
And on Sunday mornings, she had already gotten the cake baked and she had dinner planned, and she would,
Yeah.
so that's what I saw growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And it set a standard
Yes.
that I felt like I had to meet that bar. And it was just, honestly, that was not me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think we're relating to it in the same way because, I don't recall, I have a very close family and, we always had, family celebrations at my auntie's house with my cousins. And so it was always that nurturing love amongst ourselves. But one of the things that I don't ever recall was being taught how to take care, like, self-care was never a word I even heard until I started understanding what that means. So
Mm-hmm,
you're right.
mm-hmm.
It's like it is part of our history and our heritage. And it doesn't mean that anything was wrong with that because
No.
our parents and grandparents did what they knew. So they didn't know to teach us how to take care of self, right?
Right. That's right.
And I think you're right. It is a part of our history and culture that says, oh, you take care of family. And yeah, you're supposed to do that. But it
Mm-hmm,
also
mm-hmm.
means, oh, well, wait a minute, there's somebody else that's a part of that equation, and that somebody is me. So I think part of it, Donna, is what you hit on it. It is breaking the cycle. the vicious cycle of this repetitive form of behavior that eventually can become toxic in an unconscious kind of way, right?
Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Because if any time, anything that causes you to beat yourself up, be down on yourself, be disappointed in yourself because you
Mm-hmm.
didn't, reach a certain bar,
Mm-hmm.
then it's toxic.
Yes, yes.
And one of the things we talked about even last week, it was a whole different show, but toxins, when we have toxins in our body,
Mm-hmm.
they cause dis-ease.
Dis-ease, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it's the same thing in our mind, in our heart, in our spirit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in our being,
absolutely.
that these cause toxins. So I think it's very important, and we're talking mostly to women, but it's the same for men,
Absolutely.
because
And
there
so,
are men who had fathers that did set a high bar. Not
yeah,
every father is out of the house. Not
yeah,
every minority father was
ex-
out of the house.
exactly. Yeah, say that
Contrary to
again.
what we talk about.
Right?
So there are some of us that had, and I want to back up and say, the thing was that a lot of the women took care of my mom's generation. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were in their mid 40s when they adopted me. So she was born, during the Great Depression. She was
Mm-hmm.
born at a time where women mostly didn't work outside of the house. They stayed home. They didn't have much, so they had to make much into
Put their
little. I
eggs and
mean, little into
into.
much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the thing was that she had a full-time job. She was a supervisor on her job. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the thing that it was like it set the bar so high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, if you think about just our culture in general, right? Like when we got to a point where we could show up in certain places and begin to live in certain neighborhoods and have certain jobs, even with the struggles, even at that point,
Yes.
um, it was this work ethic, right? That we had to uphold because we deserve to have everything and then some. But because it was like given to us piecemeal when we got it, it was, oh, I've got to have this regimen and I've got to instill in my, children to come after me that this is how you do it.
That's right.
And
That's right.
while the work ethic and the principle behind taking care of one what we're giving and then going after what we deserve, while we have to maintain that work ethic and doing things the right way, we also have to incorporate the self-care into it.
Yes.
So it's almost like
Yes.
teaching a new generation. I have a 21-year-old daughter, and when I tell you that she is learning the practice of self-care, like she takes
Yes.
her baths with her candles and she buys herself roses and she takes so it's like I wasn't taught that at 21,
Mhm.
not because they didn't want to, but it's probably
Yes.
something they never even thought was something to discuss.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
have to be the ones to show the next generation how important it is to make this a habit and a practice
Yes.
of what you do every single day, not just on special occasions.
Not just on special occasions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I lived in Hawaii for 15 years.
Mm.
I was hadn't been 21 long when I got there. So
Okay.
first 15 years of my adult life, I lived in Hawaii. And I bring that up to say that that was such a learning time, because I was away from, now I was away from that example I had. Now I
Okay.
was away. So I could kind of really figure out how to be my own person.
Mm-hmm.
And that was still a journey that continued after that. But one of the things that I had decided at that time was, you know what? I'm going to take care of myself, because I'm going to set the standard. At that time, I was single, and I was like, I'm going to set the standard so that if a man comes in my life, he already knows I take care of me.
Yep.
So if he can't at least do for me what I can do for me,
Then he can just keep on walking. I'm
he
seeing
can keep
that
going.
now. And I'm 50 years old. But anyway, that's another conversation.
Okay. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, and I still feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but we have to be that way in other areas of our life, not just for the relationship, but our
Yes.
friendships,
Yes.
our our work life,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, finding that harmony,
Mm-hmm.
that ebb and that flow, and then being able to kind of ride that
Yes, yes.
and be okay with it.
And be okay. And I think you bring up a good point, Donna, because there's so much when we talk about self care, it's not just getting a massage or taking a walk or exercise or eating right. It is also about the relationships that we have. And some relationships are toxic.
Yes.
Whether it is physical abuse, mental abuse, whether it's just not good. Um, Preserving our self care means that we figure out. Now, here's the thing I always say, what are the barriers that get in the way of you achieving your success? The other piece of that is what are the barriers that are stopping you from being who you need to be for you? So, i.e., self care. You know,
Yes.
um, I'm trying to boil this story down really quickly because I know we could probably talk all night, but I was having a conversation with a gentleman. This was probably right after the inauguration.
Okay.
And, he had his views about, you know, I won't go into detail, but he had his views about, the vice president and her marriage or what have you. And it was just very
Mm-hmm.
a toxic conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Mm-hmm.
was a black male, and he
Mm.
was feeling some kind of way because, the VP was married to a white man. Let me just
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Let's talk
and
about
as we were having the conversation, it was very, very negative comments. It was very nasty, and just like his tone. And I said, I can't have this conversation with you because I don't like your energy, right?
it.
And
Yes.
I don't like how I'm feeling when I'm reading what you're saying.
Yes.
And so he jokingly came back and he did the LOL. He's like, "Oh, don't I'll what did he say? I'll remove you from my phone or something." I was like, "You don't even have to do that because I've already done it." And I literally had to delete him out of my contacts. So I'm
Like,
using
yeah.
this story to demonstrate the fact that self care, because I had to preserve my energy. And I could no longer have a conversation, even if it was about something totally different. I'm like, the vibe just wasn't right. So when we talk about self care, it's also preserving how we show up in relationships with other people. And if the energy is not right, we get to choose because we are still in a self care mode. My energy can't be right when I'm having this conversation with you, my emotions can't be right. So whether it's an intimate relationship or whether
Yes.
it's just a simple conversation like that, I was like, I cannot do this.
I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it. You know how you walk away from, um, I had this happen to me. I don't know. It's been a few months, but a good friend of mine, I spent
Mhm.
time around them. And when they left my presence, I literally felt almost like I was fighting the flu. That's
Okay.
like how drained they
Really?
made me. That's how much they drained me. And I had to, once I got myself together and I got my bearings, and it literally took me a day. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I realized that, Donna, you have to always, it's not a wall, but you
Mm.
have to protect yourself,
Mhm.
your energy,
Yes.
and you have to be okay with maybe not people not being so happy with you
Mhm.
by taking your leave.
Yeah. Yes, I like that. Yep. Mhm.
Take your leave.
Mhm.
We take leave from work so that we
Yep.
can relax and we can regroup and we can recoup. Sometimes we got to
That's
take
it.
leave. I got to take some PTO from this person.
Yes. Yes. And it might be temporary and it might be
And it might
permanent.
be permanent.
Yep.
So I realized that, like, you have personal time off from work for a reason.
Yes.
It's the same way with relationships.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
you just have to take your PTO.
You do have to take your PTO. I like that. I'm gonna use that because that is a form of self-care. It is like if I have to preserve my energy and my spirit and like we shouldn't be the moment we're connected with someone and we feel like is that draining,
Mhm.
yeah, it's time to make some different decisions for your self-care, right? And that's
Yes.
mental, physical, spiritual. It's all part of well-being. So, and I'm glad we are talking about this, because sometimes, we might miss those other nuggets of what self-care is. So it's preserving the whole you, mental,
Yes.
spiritual.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's all parts of who you are.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I want you to know that I feel so much better because I realize I've done better than I gave myself
See?
credit for.
Yes. Good for you. Good. And you know what?
Because
It's
there were
sometimes
times, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, you go. Let me be quiet.
I was just gonna say, there's times there have been times now. Y'all friends of mine, I already know y'all gonna talk about me, but I'm just gonna be real because this show is about being real and vulnerable.
Okay. There you go.
So there were times before when Rodney and I first started dating, he would
Mhm.
say, "Why don't you answer that phone?" I'm like, "Because I know that person will
Mm.
have a certain kind of conversation that I can't have right now." And
Mhm.
I didn't look at it as self-care,
Ah, yeah.
but it was just natural for me.
Mhm.
Like, I know if this conversation is going to be a 2-hour conversation, and some people it's because the conversation is good. It's
Mhm.
not, it's
Yeah.
not that the conversation wasn't going to be good, but maybe it was going to be too good. And right now, I just don't have the time or energy to put two
Yes.
hours into a conversation.
Yeah.
Or I know this person, when they call, they really call because they want advice. And right
Mhm.
now,
You don't
I
have.
don't have it to give.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
need to give some advice to me right now.
Mhm. And so you bring up a good, see, that's another little nugget, because to me, what I hear in that is I knew how to say no, like not right now.
Mhm.
And that's another form of self-care that some of us struggle with. Like, I just don't know how to say no. I want
Yes.
to I want to say yes to everybody because I want to help everybody.
Yes.
And our job is not to help everybody. And I
That's right.
know, I know, I know that's hard to fathom, but saying no is another form of self-care,
Do you hear that? That's from a coach, y'all.
right? I mean, and you and I are saying the same thing. We're saying it in a different way. It is saying no. Nope, I'm not picking up that phone because I know that I don't have what you need for me to give. So in order to preserve my time, I'm gonna have to say no.
I'm gonna have to say no.
Like
And it's
I
okay.
yes, it is okay. I have plenty of, I mean, and I'm sure you do too, Donna, where you have clients who say, I just can't say no. And in the meantime, the question is, so you can't say no, what is saying yes all the time by you?
That's right.
You know?
What is that doing for you?
Yeah. It might be giving everybody else everything they need. But what is it doing for you?
That's right.
That's
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 right.
that's it.
It is draining you.
Draining. And
It's
you might
draining you.
not feel it initially.
Mm-mm.
But again, if you are that energizer bunny, the myth that I can keep going and going and going, you're going to hit that brick wall, and that wall is not going to feel so good. But if you get to that wall and you're like, oh, wait a minute, you can preserve that on your own with just a little insight as to, oh, wait, I got to stop.
That's right. That's right. And that I don't know who that person is, but they say exactly what you said earlier. You can't
Can't
give
give
from
from
an
an
empty
empty
cup.
cup. Speaking of empty cup, I'm just going to refill mine for a little minute. Just
Well,
saying.
we're winding down, so I'm gonna.
It's all good. It's Friday Eve. I'm good. You good?
I have so enjoyed this
Me too.
conversation.
Yeah.
This has been great. This has been good, even for me.
Mm.
I hope that everyone has taken some notes. I hope you know those 3 myths.
Yes, yes, yes.
The
And
myth that you don't have enough time, there isn't enough time. You have all the time you need to do
yeah,
everything you need to do.
you're not an
What was myth
energizer.
number two? Myth
You're
number
not
two.
an energizer bunny. The truth is you have to stop. And then the third is the myth is that it's selfish for me to take time. The truth is it's selfish if you don't.
Amen.
Mm.
I love it. I love it. So, Miss Ericka, I am going to allow you to please tell the audience where they can find out about you, and then we'll talk about
A little goodie.
your giveaway.
Yes. So, first of all, I just want to again thank you, Donna. You have been amazing. I love the energy and interaction from your guests who are joining us tonight.
Oh,
If you want to
yeah.
find out more about me and what I'm up to, I'm super excited because Donna said it as a result of my personal professional coaching programs. Yes, I do help my clients to figure out what gets in the way of you being your best. And so if you want to know more about that, what that might look like for you, please go to truesynergy.org right there on the screen. Thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing that.
Yes.
Um, and you can also find me on Instagram at truesynergy underscore, but you can find all that on the website. And of course, my email is truesynergy@comcast.net. So
All right. So this is what I want to know. Tracy Watson. Excuse me. Girl, I'm calling you by your maiden name. Your husband gonna get me. Tracy Atkinson. Tracy Atkinson, honey, are you in the live? I need to know. Just give me a yes, a thumbs up, something very quickly. And it does take a little bit
the
to come
delay.
through.
Mm-hmm.
So if Tracy is in the building, now if she's not, it's gonna go to the next person. So y'all,
Ooh,
she's there. I know. Okay. All
okay.
right, Miss
She said,
Tracy.
I'm
So
here.
you are our lucky winner tonight. You were the first person to make a comment, and you were on Facebook. And guess what? I could see your name. You know what that meant? You went to StreamYard.com/Facebook. I gave them
Go,
permission to see
Tracy.
your
Go.
comments. So, because of that, Miss Tracy, you're going to want to take down this email address here, truesynergy@comcast.net, because Ericka has something for
Ooh,
you.
Tracy.
She has a free copy of her book, It Pathway to Purpose. I'm going to let you talk
Yeah.
about it a little bit.
So Tracy, congratulations. You know how they do on when they're showing all the little stuff on you, yes. So Tracy, you are the winner of my baby that I gave birth to back in
Yes.
2018, Pathway to Purpose. This is actually the story of how I figured out that my purpose is to transform, lead, and inspire women to seek their best. And it is my hope, Tracy, that when you read this book, that you will connect your stories to my story, and you will have a willingness to seek out your purpose as well. And I know that you've already started your business, so hopefully this will be an asset to keep you moving forward to be your best. So congratulations to you.
Absolutely. So, right there, True Synergy. Make sure you get in touch with Ericka, and she's like, cool, thank you. So
Yay.
yes, I'm so excited. I have it and I have read it. So,
I appreciate
and Tracy is a faithful member of my book club. So
that. Good.
she may
Congratulations.
read it and say, girl, we need to read this in our book club.
Hey, I'd be happy if you do.
You have been such a delight, Ericka. I truly appreciate you. I always love your lives. I always love your little conversations about just just little things that we can take notice of, and how you are just so vulnerable and so real on your page.
I
So those of you who have are not a part of Ericka's page, please look for her on Facebook, because she goes live often, and just in the mornings. I love that too. And she
mm-hmm.
just talks and has these just really heart to heart conversations.
Thank
And I
you.
love that.
Thank you, Donna. I love and appreciate you too, sis.
Well, we might have to have you on again very soon. So I'm going to give some information. I'm going to take you off, but I'm going to give some information, and we will talk. You and I will talk soon.
Sounds
But
good.
thank you so much for being
I'm
here.
honored. I appreciate you and God bless.
God bless. All right, all right, all right. There you have it, everyone. Miss Ericka Sallee, love her to pieces. I know she's my cousin. So we had some really good information tonight, and really good practical information. So I do want to tell you, especially if you are new to the page, I just want to let you know how you can find out more about me and about Life Destiny Solutions. You can always go to my website there, donnasallee.com. I always tell you, don't forget the 2 L's and the 2 E's, donnasallee.com. And while you're there, you can download my guide, my free guide, 5 steps to begin living a life you truly love. And so it really is very practical. And so I hope that you will go and download it and find value and benefit in that. You can always find me on Facebook or IG at Life Destiny Solutions. And remember, it is SOUL. And you can always join the private Facebook group. You can catch me on IG. I'm still getting that together. I am more of a Facebook person. And you can always find me there. And the last thing I want to tell you, well, not the last thing, one of the last things I want to tell you is I need guests. I need you. If we're going to keep this show going, I need women. It's Women, Wisdom, and Wine. I need some of y'all to come on, share your inspiration, your expertise. Talk about what you have been through, what you're on the other side of. What have you come through? Because I always say, if you're alive, you have wisdom to share that can help someone else. So go ahead, email me, Donna@donnasallee.com, and live segment in the subject. Tell me what you would like to talk about. We can have a conversation. Let's have you on the show. Let's get you booked on the show. If you know someone that would be good for the show, let them know. Okay. And then also, if you have a conversation that you would like to hear someone else have, that they've been through something that you want to hear how they made it through, then same thing. Email me, Donna@donnasallee.com. Okay. So I look forward to hearing from you all. And right before I end the show, I would like to just let you all know that my author debut, the book collaboration, is coming out very soon. I am starting pre-sale March 15th through the 30th. I have created a couple of events on my Facebook pages, but I'm so excited. So I look forward to your support, your comments. I will be posting in those about, more details. And we are going to have a book launch here on Women, Wisdom, and Wine before the end of the month. All right. So I look forward to sharing that with you all, my family, my internet family. And I appreciate you. Okay. Everyone have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Every week, share with your friends, tell your triple G's about the show, have them come on out and join us. Okay. All right. God bless. Have a great night.